Oi, oi, oi! Olá! Oi, gente, tudo bom? Welcome to this Q&A. Hello, everyone! Tudo bom? Oi, Mônica! Oi, Jacob, Margus! Tudo bom, gente? Muito bom! So today we are going to talk about the differences between the words MAIS and MAIS. So what is the difference between these two words? We're going to talk a little bit about this, and I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to help you with your Portuguese. To ask questions on YouTube, I'm live in two places, YouTube and Instagram. To ask questions on YouTube, just type a comment. If I don't see your question, you can post the comment many times so I can see it. And if you're watching me on Instagram, remember to use the question mark tool, okay? Just click on the question mark tool. Tudo bom, Léa? Tudo bom, Ruth? Oi, gente! So good to see you here. Muito bom! So before we start, I just want you to remind you to watch the video if you have not watched the lesson yet. It is available on my YouTube channel. This lesson is very useful, guys, because this mistake, a lot of people confuse these two words, MAIS and MAIS. Even Brazilians do that. So if you're a Brazilian, you're watching me, you should watch that video. You should study the differences so you don't make mistakes anymore. I see a lot of Brazilians writing these words wrongly, using the wrong word. Because the way that we pronounce these two words is the same, depending on the accent. MAIS, 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 it's the same. There's no much difference in the pronunciation. But when you write it, you should write it right. You should write it correctly. Tá bem? Muito importante. Oi, Megan. Oi, Roger. Tudo bom? Okay, do you guys have any questions about this topic? Think about your questions or any other questions related to Portuguese. I'm here to help you. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about your questions. And while you think about your questions, I want to invite you to join the Speaking Brazilian YouTube club. If you want to support my channel, I offer these free classes every week. If you want to support my channel, I recommend you join this Speaking Brazilian YouTube club. And if you join it, you will have access to the transcript of all my YouTube videos. So to learn more, just go to my website, okay? speakingbrazilian.com. Oi, Todd. Oi, Frank. Muito bom. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these two words, MAIS and MAIS. If you have questions about this topic or any other questions, let me know. So there is basically one difference. So MAIS, M-A-S, M-A-S, it means but. So translating to English is really easy to understand the difference, right? So M-A-S means but. And M-A-I-S, M-A-I-S means more or plus, depending on the context. So this second word can be translated in many different ways into English, depending on the context. Okay, I'm just giving you two translations, but it could have different translations as well. So, por exemplo, when you say, eu quero ir ao Brasil, mas não posso. I want to go to Brazil, but I can't. So this but in Portuguese is mas. Mas. What is the difference between mas and porém? Hazem is asking. They are synonyms. There is no difference. It's just like but and however. This meaning is the same, right? However is more formal and but is more informal, right? So in Portuguese, we have many words that can be used instead of mas, instead of but we use the word mas much more often because it sounds more natural, more informal, okay? But there are many other words that you could use instead of mas. So if you're writing if you use like writing language, if you're writing a text or an article, you probably want to use different words. But in conversation, in spoken language, we usually just use the word mas. Muito bom, excelente. Just checking if you have questions. Yes, I am Brazilian. Eu sou brasileira. So let's see another example now with the word mais. M-A-I-S. Mais. So this word can use to indicate addition. Por exemplo, mais igual a 2. 1 plus 1 equals 2. Mais So whenever you want to talk about addition, you should use the word mais. Mais. And we also use this to give intensity or to talk about quantity. So it's an adverb. Por exemplo, ela é a mulher mais bonita do mundo. So she is the most beautiful woman. A mais bonita do mundo. So whenever you want to say the most something or someone is more something, when you use the word more or most with an adjective, in Portuguese you should use the word mais. Mais, okay? So because this word gives intensity, right? It's an adverb of intensity in Portuguese. Muito bom, muito bom. Now I'm taking a look to see if I see questions. So Ana is saying, I learned a lot of vocabulary, but when I talk Portuguese, I always use the same easy words. Do you have some advice? Yeah, I do that as well when I'm speaking foreign languages. I usually use always the same words because they are the easiest ones, right? There is no really secret here. You have to push yourself to try to use different words. I recommend, I like to write down. If I want to learn how to use a different word, I like to write it down and to pay attention to see how the natives use that word. And one thing that helps me a lot to grab a different vocabulary is to listen and repeat out loud what I'm listening, so that way I practice how to use different vocabulary. But when we speak, it is totally normal to use the easiest words. That's normal. I think you will get better with practice and time. So the more you practice, the more comfortable you will feel talking and speaking in another language. It takes time. Muito bom. Estou assistindo a seu vídeo mais uma vez. Muito bom. So if you want to say one more times, here you should say in Portuguese, mais uma vez. Mais uma vez. Muito bom. Excelente. So one thing that you should remember is that the pronunciation of these two words is very similar, right? There is no right or wrong in this case because it's just accent. There is no right accent and wrong accent, right? So you could say mas and mais, or you could say mais and mais. Usually many people add the E sound in both words, mais, mais. This is the most common pronunciation actually. But sometimes people make the difference. So it's just a difference of accent. So a question about the comma before the word mais. Yes, in Portuguese we should use a comma, vírgula, before the adversative conjunctions. Maybe there are some exceptions, but the rule says that we should use a comma, a vírgula. Common in Portuguese is vírgula right before conjunctions, adversative conjunctions, which is this word. Very good question. Eu acho que tenho praticar mais português. Muito bom, Ruth. What other examples you guys want to give me? Let me know. Give me a sentence using the word mas and using the word mais just to practice. Let's use this time to practice a little bit of Portuguese. If you don't have questions, let's practice a little bit. What other sentences can you give me using these two words, mais and mas? So, eu acho que eu tenho que praticar mais português. I have to practice more. Praticar mais. Muito bom, Ruth. Excelente. Podemos dizer o Jorge é mais alto que o Luiz. That is correct. So whenever you want to say more something, more and then an adjective, in Portuguese we say mais. So mais alto means taller. So this is interesting because in English we have many words, adjectives that we just have one word to say more something, right? In Portuguese, most words, we always use the word mais, except there are only 4 adjectives that we don't use the word mais. So you should always use the word mais to say more something. Então, mais alto, taller. So in Portuguese we say more tall. We don't say taller, we say more tall. Mais alto, tá bem? Excelente. Common expressions using the word mais. Yeah, there are many expressions using the word mais, but I cannot think of expressions now. Can you guys give me examples of expressions using the word mais? We use this word so much in so many different contexts in Portuguese. It is a very common word, and sometimes it is a little bit tricky because the translation into English can be different depending on the context. But the most common translated is more and plus. Whenever you want to say more or plus in Portuguese, you should say mais. But there are other examples. Let me think of one example for you, Linda. For example, if you want to say, I don't want this anymore. Anymore. In Portuguese is also the word mais. So we would say, não quero mais isso. I don't want that anymore. So in Portuguese, when you want to say anymore in English, in Portuguese, we also use the word mais, but it should be a negation, right? A negative sentence. We should use the word não, the verb, and then the word mais. It means not anymore. So I think this is one good example for you of how to use the word mais. Muito bom! Muito bons exemplos. Mais jovem, it is correct. So, mais forte, muito bom. Excelente. Eu gosto de aprender português, mas eu não tenho tempo. So, mais que nada is the name of a song, right? I'm not sure. I never used this phrase. I saw someone asking on YouTube. I'm not sure if it was you, Natalija. So, you know that songs, they are creative, right? So they use things that sometimes don't make sense and sometimes people don't speak that way. So we use the phrase que nada, that's nothing. But mais que nada, I never used that. I've never seen anyone using that phrase except for the song, which is a beautiful song. Muito bem, looking for your comments and questions. If you have questions, guys, let me know. If you don't have questions, I'm just gonna read some of your comments. And so, guys, on Instagram, I see that you guys have many questions, but you should use the question mark tool so I can see it easily because it is really hard to read your comments, okay? So click on the question mark, click there and ask your question using that tool. So I see one question from Anna. How would you say I would like to have another coffee? Another in Portuguese is outro. So in Portuguese, we don't have another and other. We have just one word for both words, outro. Eu gostaria de beber outro café, por favor. I would like to have another coffee. So, outro café, another coffee. Muito bom, muito bom. Reading more comments here. Eu quero ter mais e mais tempo. Muito bom, eu também. Eu quero mais biscoitos, mas não tenho nenhum. So, interesting thing here. Megan, I want more cookies. Eu quero mais biscoitos, mas não tenho. So, in the negative, we don't use the word algum. We use the word nenhum. Nenhum. I don't have anything, anyone. So, nenhum. Nenhum. In a negative sentence, we don't use the word algum. Some. We use the word nenhum. Nenhum. So, this is just like a rule in Portuguese. Excelente. I'm going to make a video about this words, algum, nenhum, to explain the difference, guys. You could also say mais café. Yeah, one more, please. So, mais means one more. Mais café. No, like in this order, mais café, we would not say that. We could say, if you want to say one more, you should say mais mais So the order in Portuguese is the opposite. Yeah, the translation one, another, we don't say mais. It would not make sense. Muito bom, gente. How do you spell nen? I'm not sure what you're talking about here. What is this word? Nenhum. Okay, I got it. I'm going to write here in the comments. Nenhum. Nenhum. nenhum, nenhum. It's a nasal sound at the end. Can you see in the comments? Muito bom. One good example here, não aguento mais. So this is also another example with the meaning anymore, anymore. Não aguento mais means I can't take it anymore. So it means anymore in this case, right? Muito bom. Excelente. Muito bom, gente. What else? What other questions do you have? Actually, I have a question here. I know, I wrote it down. So I saw a comment on my YouTube channel, a question of someone asking about the word MAIS, M-A-S, with the acute accent. So that word I'm going to write here in the comment, MAIS, with the acute accent. This word is actually the feminine of the word bom, bom. So this is a completely different topic. So the word MAIS with the acute accent means bad or evil, and it is a feminine word because adjectives in Portuguese, they have feminine and masculine. So we have the masculine bom, the feminine boa, which means good, and we have the masculine Mao with the letter U, and the feminine ma, which means bad or evil. I just wanted to talk about that because MAIS is not the plural of Mao. No, it's the feminine. It's the plural feminine, okay? So this is a completely different topic. It's a long topic. I'm probably going to make a video about that as well. The difference between Mao with L and Mao with U, and the differences and the feminine masculine details about that. So, muito bom. Looking for more comments and questions. So, one good comment from Ana. Eu quero viajar para o Brasil mais uma vez. One more time. Muito bom. Mas eu não tenho nenhum dinheiro. But I don't have any money. Muito bom. Não tenho nenhum dinheiro. Excelente. Excelente. Okay, guys, so just to complete this topic that I was talking about, the Mao and Ma, I also had another question from Speaking Brazilian YouTube Club member, Carl. He asked about the expression mal-humorado, which means mau humor means a bad mood. I'm going to write here in the comments, mau humor means bad mood, and mal-humorado is a phrase that acts as an adjective. Mal-humorado, I'm also writing here. Mal-humorado is someone who is in a bad mood. So you could translate mal-humorado in different ways. You could translate as grumpy, cranky, I don't know. But it basically means someone who is in a really bad mood. Mal-humorado. Então, mau humor means bad mood, and mal-humorado, mal with L, mal-humorado means someone who is in a bad mood. Muito bom. So, quando a dupla negação é usada em português? So, we use that a lot in Portuguese, actually, the double no. This is a long topic, but it also varies a little bit depending on the region where you are. Some people use more the double negation than other regions, but it is very common to say, eu não sei não. It means I don't know, but then you add 2 times the word no. Eu não sei não at the beginning and at the end. This is very common. It depends on the region, especially in the Northeast. We do that a lot. Do you have any other example, Kamenko, so we can talk more about that? Exemplos. Gostaria de mais alguma coisa? Muito bom. Anything else? So here the word mais also have a different meaning, right? Would you like anything else? Então, mais alguma coisa. So you see the translation here into English. It is not more or plus, it's something else, anything else. Muito bom. Exemplo da Ruth, gostaria de viajar neste ano, mas pela pandemia é difícil. Excelente, Ruth, muito bom. Excelente. What else? What other comments, questions? So I have one comment here from Carla. Question, can you check if I'm correct? Ela é má pessoa, eu preciso de mais dinheiro, isso é difícil, mas não impossível. Eu tive uma má noite. Excelente. So just a couple of details. If you want to say she is a bad person, then here you have to use the article, indefinite article, uma. Ela é uma má pessoa. Uma má pessoa. Ela é uma má pessoa. She's a bad person. É uma má pessoa. So I'm going to write here in the comments. Ela é uma má pessoa. The second one is correct. Eu preciso de mais dinheiro. I need more money. Eu preciso de mais dinheiro. Isso é difícil, mas não impossível. This is difficult, but not impossible. That is correct. Eu tive uma má noite. So here, the word mal, it is not correct because you're talking about noite. So you should use the adjective, not the adverb. The word mal with L is an adverb. And the word noite is feminine. So you should always say má. Eu tive uma má noite. But you know that the word má, we don't use it much. We only use it like in the context. She's a bad person. You could say ela é uma má pessoa, não é uma pessoa legal. She's not a nice person. But we don't, even in this example, it would be more common to say, ela não é uma pessoa muito legal. She's not a very nice person. This would be much more common than say, ela é uma má pessoa. You don't use this word much in Portuguese. I don't know. The word exists, it is correct, but you just don't use it, okay? But the last example, I would say, eu tive, I'm writing in the comments, uma noite ruim. So, ruim is synonym. It means mal and má, the adjective. It means bad, ruim. And it's much, much more common in Portuguese than the words mal and má with this meaning of bad. Eu tive uma noite ruim. Or you could say, não tive uma noite muito boa. I didn't have a good evening. Não tive uma noite boa. Tá bem? I hope that helped, Carla. Very good questions. Muito bom. Nunca mais. Nunca mais é uma frase muito comum. Never again. Nunca mais. We say that a lot. I don't want to do that ever again. Eu não quero fazer isso nunca mais. Muito bom, Todd. How do I know when to say ficar or como? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. I'd like to elaborate a little bit more. Eu nunca digo nada. Muito bom. This is very common. So the word nunca e nada, this is very, very common in Portuguese. The word nada is always used with some kind of other negation word. Por exemplo, you could say, eu não disse nada. I didn't say anything. Eu não disse nada. We also have two negation words, right? Não and nada. Não, nada. They are used together. Or you could say, eu nunca digo nada, I never say anything. So this, actually, to use the word nada, most of the time, it requires another negation word to make sense. Unless you're saying a phrase, like an expression, like de nada, it means like, you're welcome, de nada. Muito bom. Very good questions, guys. Just let me see. I have one more question here on Instagram. So you're asking me when it will be possible to go to Lorenzo, to Brazil. I have no idea. Things in Brazil are not well right now. I wish I knew the answer to your question. Qual é o significado da expressão safado? Safado means naughty, or it can have many different translations. It's not a good thing. It could be sexual, or it could be something else. It's not a good word. Don't call people that unless you are sure what you're doing. Muito bom. Looking for more comments and questions. As pessoas de Portugal entendem o português do Brasil? Yes, actually people from Portugal, they understand Brazilians much more easily than Brazilians understand people from Portugal because of television. Brazilian television is very popular and Brazilian songs are very popular in Portugal, but the other way around, it is not that popular. We don't watch Portuguese television in Brazil and you don't hear Portuguese songs. It's not common. But the language is the same. We can communicate with each other. It's just like American English and British English, right? Or Spanish from Argentina and Spanish from Mexico, right? It's the same language, just a little bit different. Muito bom. Você pode dizer ela é uma pessoa ruim? Yes, that is correct. That is actually very... the word ruim is much more common in Portuguese than the word má and mal. Muito bom. Poderia dizer, queria mais um café. Sim, that is correct. Queria mais um café, por favor. Come on. I don't know, guys. How do you say come on in Portuguese? I think it depends on the context. Who wants to help me out here? Muito bom. Looking for more questions. Very good comments, guys. If I did not answer your question, copy and paste again so I can see it, okay? Because it is hard for me to see your questions. I have only 2 more minutes here. So this is an interesting question. Could you say in which context would you use the word embora? So embora is an interesting word because it can have very different meanings depending on the context. It could be a very formal word that would mean like although, for instance, if you want to say, although it is raining outside, I am going for a walk. So if you want to say that in Portuguese, you could use the word embora. Embora esteja chovendo, eu vou sair para caminhar. So, but this is one of the meanings. But if you use the word embora with the verb to go, the verb ir, then it means to leave. So completely different meaning. So it is a phrase. Eu vou embora. It means I am leaving. So usually if you use the word embora with the verb ir, it means that you're leaving the place and you're not coming back right now. You're leaving, you're going home, you're not coming back, you're going away. Eu vou embora. So you are at the party and you say, oh, it's getting late, vou embora. It's late, I'm leaving, vou embora. So this is actually the most common use of the word embora, because the other use, the one that I said before, it's a little bit formal. Muito bom. Okay, I see many comments here. So yeah, so 2 of my friends, one Portuguese and one Brazilian, they make fun of each other on how to say the word you in Portuguese. Yeah. So in Brazil, we use mostly the pronoun você, and in Portugal, they use the pronoun tu. And in Brazil, a lot of people use the pronoun tu, but make the conjugation incorrectly. So yeah, people from Portugal, they don't think that is nice. So usually there are some... I have a lot of Portuguese friends, and usually my Brazilian friends make fun of the Portuguese and vice versa. So this is normal. Not only about these words, but also vocabulary, that we have like different vocabulary, and sometimes it's super fun to see the differences. Okay. So Ellers, onde fica o restaurante? So where is the restaurant? Why to use ficar instead of é? So actually, when you're talking about a permanent location, you could use the verb ser or ficar. Both are correct. You could say, onde é o restaurante? Or, onde fica o restaurante? Both ways are correct. But in colloquial language, in more natural language, the verb ficar is more common in this context, to talk about location of fixed things that are not going to move, like a restaurant, a building, anything that is fixed, right? But if you're talking about location of people or things that are not fixed, you should use the verb estar instead. How do you say, why would I say ele tem fome, but estou com fome? So actually, this phrase fome, the word fome, it can be used with the verb ter, or they are phrases, right? So you can say that in many different ways. You could say, eu estou com fome, or eu tenho fome. Both ways are correct. Both ways are used. You could also say, ele está com fome, or ele tem fome. Both ways are used. There's no difference in the meaning, okay? So yeah, so very good question, Ellers. Muito bom, gente. Okay, I think that's it for today. Tenho que me ir. We don't say me ir embora. Tenho que ir. Tenho que ir. It's not pronominal. It's not a reflexive verb, ok? Tenho que ir embora. Muito bom, excelente. Muito bom, gente. I hope this was useful for you guys, but I forgot to say that in the beginning. I should have said in the beginning. So from now on, I'm not going to be able to host this Q&A every week because I have to dedicate more time to the students in my school, so it is really hard for me to be here every single week. But I'm not going to abandon you. I'll be here once a month. So from now on, you find me in this Q&A once a month, always in the first week of the month. So the next Q&A will be on the first Thursday of June. So add it to your calendar. And if you don't want to miss my Q&As, I recommend that you join my newsletters. If you have been receiving my emails, I send like one email a week. I am not going to send you a bunch of emails, just once a week, and with the new lesson, the YouTube lesson. So if you sign up for my newsletter, you will be sure to know when I'm teaching these classes, because I'm always going to send you a reminder, an email reminding you about the Q&A. Okay, so from now on, one Q&A a month, always on the first week, and we're going to talk about the previous videos, and I'll be here available to answer your questions, tá bem? Ok, gente, beijo grande para vocês, boa quinta-feira e até a próxima. Tchau, tchau!